As expected, China responded to the U.S. after the Treasury Department designated Beijing as a currency manipulator. Eunice Yoon is in Beijing with more.
Take a look at the front pages of the newspapers in China today. The Global Times, which is a Communist Party paper, says renminbi to remain stable despite depreciation. The China Daily says fluctuations of yuan exchange rate normal. And these headlines are not only in English, but also in Chinese. The message is just as important for a domestic audience as it is for an international one. After the big sell-off yesterday, Beijing would be wary of a repeat of 2015-2016 when a devaluation of the yuan panicked investors and triggered capital flight. So the priority seemed to be to message to everyone today that China would stick to its pledge to stabilize the yuan. But the authoritative People's Daily had a few words for the Trump administration regarding China being labeled a currency manipulator, saying that the U.S. is destroying international order. The central bank, which manages a floating exchange rate, called the U.S. move unilateral protectionist behavior that violates international rules. The bank pointed out that China doesn't meet the U.S.'s 3 criteria for the label. Secretary Mnuchin says the U.S. will engage in conversations with the International Monetary Fund as part of the process to, quote, eliminate the unfair competitive advantage of China's actions. The central bank addressed that, too, saying the IMF believes the yuan exchange rate is generally in line with fundamentals. So from Beijing's perspective, the evidence is in China's favor. The latest developments would seem to escalate tensions, but I spoke with a source who consults with the Chinese negotiating team, and he said that China still wants a trade deal with the U.S., so China would be strong and firm in rhetoric, but moderate in taking action against the U.S. For example, he said China announced it would suspend U.S. agricultural purchases, but that the word suspend was used carefully because it means that there's room to reach a compromise. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Eunice Yoon in Beijing.